The Biden administration is trying to calm fears of a widespread banking crisis following the failure of two U.S. banks.
The next major decision, which may rattle the markets even further, comes next week when the Federal Reserve will likely announce another interest rate hike. Caroline Shively reports now from Washington.
President Biden headed to Capitol Hill for a St. Patrick's Day event on Friday as he called on Congress to go after executives whose mismanagement led to failing banks by imposing civil penalties, clawing back compensation, and banning them from ever working in the industry again. Congressional Democrats are also calling for action.
We must do everything we can to protect our banking system and to prevent a cascade of bank failures.
It's unlikely Republicans in Congress would agree to strenuous new regulations, but they do want answers.
And we need to make sure every part of our banking system is solid. Our community banks are much more solid than what everybody's talking about.
Also on Friday, SVB Financial Group announced it had filed for bankruptcy protection. SVB is the parent company of Silicon Valley Bank, which was seized by the federal government as it collapsed, taking the government and industry by surprise.
How come they missed the red flags? This bank had grown over 60% in 3 years in a row. There was this enormous ballooning.
Silicon Valley is one of 4 lending institutions to face calamity over the last week here in the U.S. and in Europe.
Countries are going to have problems, so it's going to be a rough patch ahead.
All of this makes it less likely the Federal Reserve will hike interest rates, but we won't know until the Fed meets next week. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox 32, Chicago.